Sports Core Report. What a week to debut our Core Report when just Wednesday, our early slate MLB cores crushed. DraftKings led the way, recommending a Blue Jay stack featuring Ross Stripling, Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, and Teoscar Hernandez, who all went off for close to 20-plus points each. Blue Jay stacks found their way into early slate cores across the board, leading to RPS logos all over the leaderboards. RPS is always innovating DFS content, and this week, we wanted to introduce you to some new items we are including in our premium offerings. First up is the Daily Assist featuring Hoop2410, who will be giving a premium overview on daily slates for a variety of sports, including MLB, PGA, and will soon be diving into the NFL as well. Hoop is one of the top-ranked DFS players out there, so to get his early premium thoughts on a slate will help you think like a pro and build that bankroll. Make sure to check out Hoop's Daily Assist in the past shows section of our Run Pure website. Hoop is not the only one creating new content to help our members crush. Mangone has also debuted Mangone's 3-Max, a daily new chart to help you navigate MLB single entry and 3-Max contests. Mangone is one of the most successful cash game players in the industry. Find out his premium recommendations for 3-Max and single entry contests daily in the MLB drop-down menu on our Run Pure Sports homepage. All of this and more content is available virtually for every slate and every sport, all for a low monthly price of $80. Plus, you can knock 25% off your first payment by using promo code RPSHeater25. As always, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, get in there now and take advantage of all of our free daily video content. Our content features the top DFS pros in the industry, giving you their winning takes, so subscribe today and find out why we're one of the fastest growing DFS sites out there. Thanks for joining us for this week's Core Report, and we will see you again soon.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. I am your host, Mangone. I am here with AP. I'm also here with Philip Dang, aka Glock. So we're here to break down the early MLB slate for you guys. Excited to talk about it, talk about all the content that we have over here at Run Pure Sports. I'm sure some of you are happy to see us back on the YouTube channel. If you missed it yesterday, we're on the premium side for the Swing for the Fences show. So if you missed out on it, you got to go sign up right now to make sure that you get in on those shows when they go live and get all the content that we have over here at Run Pure Sports. But let's bring it over to AP. How was your day yesterday for some baseball, and how are the golf sweats looking for this weekend?
Yeah, yesterday, pretty interesting, like random slate, very low scoring. We were talking right before the show, moving on to the Orioles really helped me out a little bit, even though like run production wasn't crazy or anything like that. It's just one of those slates that it happens. We get a day slate today, a lot of hot weather. Hopefully things turn around a little bit there. Golf sweats, I mean, man, I don't know if you saw the cut sweats chart, but like 6-6 rate is extremely low. Ches Reavie out there, workbench play, he's battling. And I'm under on Xander, unfortunately. I think a lot of us were. I have him in multi-entry formats, but man, Rory, I was pretty high on Rory. He had those 2 holes where, God, I mean, man, I haven't seen Rory do something like that. So I'm sure he'll battle back, and I'm sure it'll be a fun, little battle down the stretch there heading into tomorrow.
Yep, should be a lot of fun. MLB PGA DFS content is up over here at Run Pure Sports. We had the round 3 showdown stuff. We'll have round 4 showdown as well. That'll be on the premium side, that video, along with the showdown playbook. So you definitely want to get in on that. I always like playing the round 4 showdown. If I had to pick one, that would be my favorite one, because you get the finishing position and everyone just loads up on those guys at the top and just assumes that they're all going to get it, right? If you're in first place, you got to get first place, and you're going to get second, you're going to get third, but you can definitely make some contrarian lineups and take advantage of the field. So let's go over to you, Glock. How is your day going? Are you dialing in some MMA winners? How's the day looking for you today, Glock?
Yeah, it's looking good. I'm glad the MMA card doesn't lock early today. It locks later at 6 p.m. Central. So after this show, I'll definitely dive in, after I lock in my MLB winners and then, get into MMA. But yeah, I mean, just to follow up on your questions to AP about yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I was on the Cardinals. They obviously were very hurtful last night, put up 0 runs, I believe. But that's the beauty of daily fantasy sports, right? We can go right back to them today and get our money back. And then, in regards to PGA, I think I had 3 guys on my main lineup miss on the number. One being Mito, another being Siwoo Kim. I think they bogeyed like 2 of the last 3 holes, and it was looking good for a little while to get a 6-6 through in that small percentage. But my hopes and dreams were crushed, by the end. So PGA not going so well. MLB didn't go too well yesterday, but like I said, daily fantasy sports, we can get it all back today.
Yep. Listen, you can always tomorrow to obviously get it back. And hey, there's tons of ways to do it today. There's tons of ways to do it next week. I do want to talk about some of the content that we have coming up over here at Run Pure Sports as well. We have a really, really big tennis slate coming up. I believe it's Wimbledon coming up. So you do not want to miss out on that. They have massive prize pools. I saw Spread Astaire at our site. He's tweeting out about it. Susie's talking about it as well. So be sure to check out all the tennis content that we have coming up over here at Run Pure Sports. It's going to be awesome. And you don't want to miss the chance to win $30,000. So yeah, if you want any kind of sports content, we have it for you. If you're into CSGO, you're into League of Legends, we got it all. We got NASCAR. So you do not want to miss out on all the content over here. Also want to mention some of the members that have had some pretty good scores as of late. We obviously make this segment called members never win. Sometimes people say that the members don't win here at Run Pure Sports. That is not true. We got Scroggs 811. He won 5K in PGA. Then we got D Jones MB. He won 20K in the MLB streets. And then we got DFS Hofbro King. He is one of our members. He's a member everywhere though, but he's one of those guys that he's in our Discord chat daily, right? If you want to like talk to some of the best players in DFS, including Big T, right? AP, Hoop, Glock, me, and myself. You want to talk to these guys, you have access to them. You don't just have access to coordinators. You have access to members like him, and he won 100K in MLB. So the man is another guy. I mean, he won $1 million in NBA a while back. This is another member that you can chat to daily, just get to know. And, we just want to be in here and just talk sports with someone, right? You want to like talk with people that you have the same alignments. You don't like talking sports with like the guy that's a big Dallas Mavericks fan, Glock, right? That's not a fun conversation. You don't want to talk with that guy. You don't want to talk with the Dallas Cowboys fan in your area. You want to talk with the guy that's in the daily fantasy sports, right, Glock?
Yeah, for sure. And shout out the man. I think he won another 25 grand last night. He got third. I think he would have easily shipped 100K in the 777, I believe, if what's his name, Kopech did anything for him. I think he had a terrible game, but if he just had a few more points, a few more strikeouts, he would have shipped 100K. Yeah, the man's crushing it for sure. And just another 25 stack to add to his million and many other wins. So it's probably nothing to his bank account, but yeah.
I got to address something in chat real quick. Rolo, right at the top, appreciate you getting in there early. Yeah, I lost to Snyder in golf. A few reasons though. One, it's his home track. Two, it was like 25, 30 mile an hour winds. It was terrible out there. It was so bad. I'm not a good golfer at all. I suck. Mangone, you play with me. Like, we're not good. We go out there and hit it, have fun. And that course, Mangone, you played it. It's not easy, right? It's a tough track. So yeah, I shot a 102. Snyder shot a 96, and he had like 3 triples. So like his round was actually pretty decent considering the wind. The wind was just terrible. But I that's all I got to address. I'm not beating Snyder. I got to practice.
I will support you on this, AP, for a couple reasons. One, like Snyder literally knows that course so well, right? That's the course he actually like fixes all the time. And, like he's messing with the greens. He knows it better than literally anyone. So that's one thing. Two, yeah, on that trip out here to Colorado, you guys gave me like the worst courses to try and play on, and I looked horrific. Now, I'm not saying I'm a great golfer, but like Big T's, like I forget what course we decided to play, but Rubio was able to get us in for free. But like it was one of those courses that wasn't easy. So the winds were bad, like you said. So AP, don't worry. I think you got a chance to take down Snyder. Just get him off the home field, and then maybe you can get him rattled a little bit more. So definitely with you on that. I think you got a chance against him. Yeah, so we should kind of dive into the MLB talk. Obviously, we're going to be kind of on here up until like lock almost, maybe not all the way. We'll try and get off a little bit earlier so we can kind of button everything up, get all the content up. The core plays, playbook is already up. I'm getting my 3max stuff up, and we're obviously in the Discord chat breaking it all down as well. If you have questions for other guys like DC, he's up bright and early, giving out those baseball winners in the Discord chat. But AP, let me go over to you first. let's talk about this pitching, because this is a great slate. It's got pitching, it's got hitting, and it's only 8 games. And sometimes, on an 8-game slate, it just might be no pitchers to go to, or it's all pitchers and then no offense. We got it all in this slate. I mean, we got Garrett Cole and Corbin Burnes at the top. We got some good mid-tier options too. Like, I personally think that Chris Bassett, I think JT Brubaker, I think is kind of in play. Corey Kluber. There's a lot of good options, AP. Who are you looking at starting with at the top? Let's go from like 8K and above. Let's start there.
Yeah. So like with baseball, I don't have like a ton of rules. Like I have a few. Like one is whenever we get Garrett Cole, Corbin Burnes, or like a Shane McClanahan, your top 5 guys in baseball right now, if you want to call it just strikeout rates, dependable, and DFS, I'm locking them in. It's just been one of my rules this year, and it's not changing today, even in a tougher matchup. I mean, Corbin Burnes has been phenomenal. 3.2 xFIP, 32% strikeout rate. His command is just phenomenal. He's allowed some hard hits, but I'm going to rely on just how good of a talent, how good of a pitcher that he is. I'm not too worried about. I mean, the Blue Jays have power. They definitely do. But there are definitely some strikeouts in this lineup too. So on a slate like this, I'm trusting the quality pitchers up in that tier. So Corbin Burnes, definitely going to be one of my top options. And then Garrett Cole too. Now, the one difference here is the Astros are very pesky and disciplined at the plate. 17% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching versus Toronto, who Burnes is facing, is right around 22%. So that's one of the other things I'm kind of factoring in. But Cole, right up there, man. 3.3 xFIP, 32% K rate. Command is phenomenal. The one thing Cole's been doing this year too, outside of like one start, he's really limiting hard hits to the mid 20% range on the season, which is really impressive given that, he throws a lot of high velocity fastballs and strikes, obviously. So I like both of those guys. They are the top 2 clear options for me. And it's a day baseball game. I like to get different in day baseball, and which means I'm playing a lot of, 5 through 9 stacks, or, maybe a wraparound stack too. And what that does, it allows me to play 2 expensive pitchers, assuming we have those quality ones, which we do on this slate, and allows me to get different at bats. So in that top tier range for me, it's pretty easy on this slate. It's Garrett Cole. It's Corbin Burnes.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that. Glock, we got Otters on the over in the chat. He's wondering if we're sprinkling the Mavs to win the Western Conference Finals already. So let the people know if you're doing a sprinkle of that, and then tell them what you're doing with the top end arms. I mean, 8K and above. I mean, what are you doing with Bassett, Kluber, some of these other options? There's a lot to like. You can easily go Cole and Burnes. I agree, it's a good route to go, but I'm not completely sleeping on some of these other mid-tier options as well.
Yeah, so I gotta, in regards to the NBA, I feel like I gotta see what my boy Jalen Brunson does first, man. I think the Knicks are clearing that cap space, so it's making me a little scared. But if he stays,
Glock, they got to get rid of him, man.
Why?
Sell out high, keep building, build around Luka, man.
We have no cap space, AP. If we lose him for nothing, and then we got to send min contract guys. So I don't know if I like that, but I mean, it could work out. I mean, Jalen Brunson can go get his bag, in New York, and be the lead guy. But yeah, I think we got to wait on that before sprinkling any futures. And yeah, in regards to the pitching, the top range, I like what AP said, right? Corbin Burnes, Garrett Cole, these 2 guys lead the slate in K rate, first and second, with the first being Corbin Burnes at 32.6%. Corbin Burnes allows the lowest expected slugging rate. And Toronto has actually struck out at the 10th highest rate versus right-hand pitching since June 8th. So, despite the tough matchup on paper, because obviously Toronto has been just firing away offensively, that statistic makes it a little less scary, and just, it'll allow for a little more upside just because the strikeouts will be there, despite how hot Toronto has been offensively. And then obviously you have Garrett Cole, right? Can't really deny him. He does have the propensity to get blown up sometimes. And, Houston is definitely a tougher statistical matchup than Toronto, I would say, as they don't strike out often. I always look at Steve Boynton's hand in his chart. They rank 28th on the year on striking out. So they don't strike out much at all. So yeah, it's a tough range because Cole and Burnes are true aces, but they get tough matchups in Houston and Toronto. You dive into the 9K range. I don't really have interest in anyone in this range, really. And then what Mangone said about the 8K range, I actually like this range a lot, with my favorite probably being Chris Bassett. He faced Miami 6 days ago on June 19th. He was rolling. I don't know if you guys followed, but he had them scoreless until the start of the 7th inning, where he actually loaded up the bases, 0 outs, got pulled for, I think, a pitcher named Lugo. And then that next pitcher gave up a grand slam. So that kind of plummeted Bassett's score. It could have been a really monster one, but he still scored 22.1 fantasy points, at the end of that game, struck out 9. So I'll go right back to him. Chris Bassett has a solid K rate of 26.2%. And then Miami has struck out at the 7th highest rate in the league, at 23.7%. So I think Bassett's in a great spot. And then, Corey Kluber, I feel like I haven't rostered him at all this year so far, but just looking at his game log, he's been pretty consistent as of late. He's posted 15 plus fantasy points in 5 games straight. Obviously, that's like nothing crazy, but he gets a Pittsburgh matchup that I always personally like to target and have had success so far this year. They strike out at the 3rd highest rate in the league at 25%, and 7th most since right-handed pitching since June 8th. So I think Kluber is a great option. Those 4 guys would be in my pool: Chris Bassett, Corey Kluber, and then obviously the 2 top arms, Garrett Cole and Corbin Burns in the upper tier.
Yeah, it's definitely a loaded slate. Absolutely love this one. Definitely excited about it. I'm definitely getting my White Sox in there today. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about these cheaper pitchers, because there's a couple options I want to discuss here at this lower range. One of them I want to talk about is JT Brubaker. Now, I like Kluber in this game. I also think Brubaker is a really good option. And I think he's a good pivot off of Lance Lynn, who I think is going to gain some ownership. And I don't know, I have some concerns with Lance Lynn. AP, you out on some Baltimore yesterday. You said it kind of did well for you. And I think this is a great opportunity to leverage the field a little bit and play some Baltimore mini stacks. So I'm currently fading Lance Lynn on this slate, but I think he's a talking point no matter what, whether you're playing him, whether you're fading him. I think he's worth discussing for sure. And then like Brad Keller against Oakland, I don't think you should sleep on that completely. It's Oakland. They can easily be terrible. Brad Keller, if he was on the winning lineup, it wouldn't surprise me. Not going to be a guy that's in my pool, but just would not shock me because of how bad Oakland is. Trevor Rogers against the Mets, I doubt I'd go with him. Yes, he can sometimes flash a pretty good game, but the Mets, they're a pretty good contact lineup. So I think this is not the right spot to do it. Overall, if you go below 8K, for me, I'm on Brubaker. He's my favorite option. AP, is it Lance Lynn, or maybe you're playing some Orioles, or is there another pitcher that I haven't touched on here below 8K?
Yeah,
Lance
Lynn is the guy that is popping, in projections down in that range. My only problem with him is the guy got blown up in AAA, and then, his first start back against Detroit, and he got blown up too. Looked better against Toronto in a spot where I believe a lot of people were on Toronto stacks against him, myself included. I'm not quite sold yet. And if he's going to be the guy down in that range that gets some ownership, I'd much rather go right back to the Orioles and kind of just lock in my top 2 guys. Like, my problem with going outside of them is, one, it looks like as far as expensive hitters go, it's a tough slate for your expensive hitters. When we think about the elite teams like the Astros, the Yankees, even the Cardinals are kind of up there too, definitely up there price wise, coming off a really bad game. They're a team that could definitely bounce back, but that park, isn't one we typically like to attack. It kind of sets up to just lock in those top 2 guys for me and, get on some of these dustier teams that, some of them continue to hurt my feelings, like the Royals. We'll talk about them. White Sox, we'll talk about them too. Not the lineup I was necessarily hoping for, but again, I see that being the route that I like to go. And I see myself getting on a little Orioles stack here against Lance Lynn that I think is going to be quite contrarian. I mean, you guys are better at ownership than me. I just think with Lance Lynn, popping is kind of one of the best values on the slate. Usually that means he's going to be, a bit higher owned there.
Yep. Listen, I think you're bringing up some good points there. We got some interesting stuff in the chat. So someone said I'm going to be on the PGA Tour one day. There's no chance that's happening. I am not not good. But hey, I think I'm good enough to beat JSU. We'll have to see how that works out. We got Junyoya in the chat. He said he likes the 3 max articles I've been doing. So if you haven't checked it out, I'm doing a single entry 3 max article right up. And whatever you guys like, please let me know. So I keep doing that, right? If there's something specifically you like me talking about in the breakdowns, try to mention some things. Like sometimes like I'll talk about like a stack and like the best way to kind of make it contrarian, right? Like for instance, one thing you do on this slate, it's no secret. People are going to be on Jose Abreu. So let's say you're doing a 5-man White Sox stack and you're making a 3-man Cardinals. Maybe the right strategy is to fade Jose Abreu for a Paul Goldschmidt, right? And then if Abreu happens to go for like 6 DK points and then Goldschmidt hits 2 home runs, well, that's a great way to make your stack a little bit different. So definitely trying to talk about some of that stuff in that breakdown. And I got 3 core plays up for you. I give you a single entry. I give you 2, 3 max ones. And then I kind of listed out, like if I have 2 White Sox in the stack and then I have 1 Cardinal, well, then that implies, hey, that one that's the 2 side, that's going to probably be my 5-man stack, but you can go either way. It gives you kind of some opportunities to do what you want. Gator Nation 15 in the chat is talking up Kikuchi. So talking about stacking up against him. So I'm excited to kind of get to the bats and talk about what to do there. But AP, give me your final pitcher breakdown, and then we'll dive into Glock's pitcher breakdown, and then we'll go on over to the bats.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about all of us is we're really transparent, and sometimes that makes some of these breakdowns kind of boring, because I could spend time talking about these, guys that I'm not going to play. But honestly, I see myself just locking in Burns and Cole. I personally feel that they are in, like, if we're breaking this up into like 3 classes, I believe Burns and Cole are in the top class, and then you have this gap, and then everyone else will throw. I mean, not everyone else in the third, because there are definitely a few pitchers on the slate, Jared Koenig, Spencer Watkins, that shouldn't be in any class at all. I mean, they're absolutely terrible. So for me, it's honestly, I think I'm going to double spend up, and I'm going to lock those 2 guys in, and that's what I'm going to do on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, AP, so good point that you brought up. Like, for instance, let's say you don't like that double pitcher spend up. Well, this is what you need to do. Go to SaberSim, run it with Cole and Burns, see what it does with the stacks that you like, and then maybe go to like a Bassett instead. Maybe go to a Brubaker or a Lynn, or maybe go at the bottom and see what it does for your teams. Sometimes I have an initial read. I'm like, okay, I really don't like spending up at both pitchers. And then I'll see that, oh, I can easily do it with the stacks that I like. Just see how the math fits for you. Like you mentioned before on the show yesterday, AP, go in and up the offenses that you like, and then just go from there. That's kind of the strategy I like to take. Glock, let's go over to you. What's your pitching breakdown here? Give me like your top, like 3 to 4 guys, and then we'll move on to the bats.
Yeah, so I like the point that you talked about Saber. I kind of do the opposite approach, where I'll go in and I'll say, hey, give me at least a 5-man from, my primary stack. So like for today, for example, I went into Saber and I put at least 5-man stacks from the Cardinals and the White Sox and the O's. And then I run like 150 lineups, and I kind of see what pitchers it's spitting out. I like how you said, you lock Corbin Burns and Garrett Cole, but I think if you do it in reverse, then you can see from a perspective, okay, if I really lock in these offenses, then what kind of pitchers is it going to give me? And for example, like today, an offense like the Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt is above 6K, I believe. So it may be hard to really jam in Burns and Cole, with a card stack. And so you may have to drop down from one of those guys to a Chris Bassett, a Corey Kluber, a JT Brubaker. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my process in MLB so far, just kind of figuring out what offenses I like. If I don't have much conviction on, a specific pitcher that I'm going to lock in, be completely overweight, then I usually do that in the optimizer and see what the math is telling me. Right. So I would say, I think Chris Bassett is my favorite, but like I said, I ran everything through the opto, and, I prefer a 5-man Cardinal stack, which is what we'll talk about later. And it's giving me Bassett and Kluber. So I think the mid-range is where I'm going to stay, and just kind of hope that the top end arms like Burns and Cole kind of did what they did last night, right? We kind of saw a similar example where Severino went for 17, Verlander went for 20 last night. If I can get that same scenario to happen again with these top 10K arms, then I'll be feeling pretty good with my 8K guys. And obviously, the talent is just way higher in this 10K range, but I think I can get away with, living in the 8K range today.
All right. I do see in the chat, Zip Kicker's talking about like in, the SC and 3 max stuff. But here's the thing. He says he's not an MME guy. But if you are an MME guy, we have that stuff for you too as well. Big T puts up his player pool. And who doesn't love getting Big T's content? So if you want to see the player pool and the guys that he's on, that's obviously a way to check out his 150 lineups and what he is kind of constructing for the slate. And he also puts up his core as well. He highlights them in green. So be sure to check all that out over at Run Pure Sports. But we're going to go game by game and talk about the rest of the bats here. Before we do that though, guys, please hit the like and subscribe to the video. Helps us out a ton. Listen, if the likes and subscriptions are going up a ton, then maybe, the shows won't be premium on Friday like it was yesterday. So please smash that for us. We appreciate it a ton. But let's go to the first game. And it's the Astros and the Yankees. And AP, I'm going to go over to you because I don't see myself stacking, the Astros up against Garrett Cole. But I do think they could do some damage. Like if Kyle Tucker or Yordan Alvarez goes yard today, that would not surprise me. I would not just be absolutely shocked. Not saying I'm loading them up my lineups, but I don't mind them as one-offs here and there if you want to get a little contrarian. And then this Yankees team against Javier, I think they can get a hold of him. I mean, obviously Aaron Judge is in play. Anthony Rizzo, a contrarian spend up first baseman option. Josh Donaldson at 3-8 in the 3-hole. That's definitely a guy that you can get into your lineups as a nice little value play. Aaron Hicks, I think, is another one at 2-8. Could be a nice little value. So what are you doing here with this Yankees team with a decent total against Christian Javier, AP?
Yeah, so this first game, I mean, the one thing is the hitting environment is actually very good, which does give me a little bit of a concern with Cole, mainly against lefties here. He's given up a pretty decent hard hit fly ball rate to lefties. He's been able to take care of righties. There's only 2 lefty bats in this lineup. I'm worried about one of them, Yordan Alvarez. I mean, the dude has just been mashing balls. He's 6'3" against Garrett Cole. You're going to need, I don't know if at 6'3", if one home run will do it, for me on this slate. You're sacrificing quite a bit as far as, probably fading a top tier pitcher to get a guy like him into your lineup. So I feel pretty comfortable fading them. I think the bottom of the order here, he's going to be able to mow down when you're just looking at 6 through 9. And if he gets through 1 through 5, which I think he can, I think he'll be fine. But Javier too, another guy with, he gives up a lot of fly balls, and we have a lot of power. Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, and probably Gallo are the ones that I would stick to. Gallo batting their 9th gives you some salary relief. I could see those guys getting it done. The thing about the Yankees too, while I've kicked myself for saying this in the past, like with full stacking them, not necessarily needing to full stack them, and then they've just absolutely went off as a team. The thing about them though is you don't have to. A 3-man stack is perfectly fine, focusing on those power guys that are going to get you home runs. And I don't mind the matchup here. I do think we're going to see 1 or 2, maybe 3 home runs from the Yankees today.
Yep, definitely think you're right. These Yankees could definitely go yard. I'm definitely considering them, but they're not a team I'm prioritizing. I'm not making sure I jam them in there. Just kind of letting to see what the opto does, and then kind of seeing if they make sense based on what I'm already putting on my teams. Let's go over to you, Glock. How are you handling this Houston and Yankees game?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of on the same path as you guys. I don't think I have too much interest in this game personally in regards to stacking it up. I respect both pitchers, and, kind of the stance I've been taking in MLB is I just want to stack against the bad pitchers. Any pitcher who I think is at least fairly decent and can minimize the damage, such as a Christian Javier, I generally won't attack them unless let's say Javier comes in as the highest owned pitcher on a slate and he's going against the Yankees, right? Then that's, a leverage spot that I would consider taking advantage of. But seeing as he probably won't come with much ownership at all, I probably won't stack up this game at all. I think if I had to choose one side, though, it would be the Yankees as a more contrarian stack, because I do have less faith in Javier than I do Cole. Like AP mentioned, it's nice hitting weather. And yeah, guys like Yordan, Judge, Stanton, you can always one-off as they're live for a home run, on every single slate, right? They're just some of the best batters in the league. So I would consider that, but I think there's better spots on this slate personally. And, I'll stack up another game rather than this spot personally.
Yeah, I do think this Yankee stack is in play. I think there's some really good values. Like I said, Josh Donaldson, I like how you can mix and match them throughout your lineups and the power and pop they have. Talk about yesterday's slate. Obviously, yesterday, it was a really low-scoring slate. And on those low-scoring slates, it's really nice when you can grab some home runs, all right? So, like, there's so much power and pop in this lineup that sometimes it's nice just to get in those big power bats. And, of course, the Yankees have a ton of them. I definitely like the Yankees today. I'm going to get a little bit of exposure to them for sure on this slate. But let's move on over to the next game where it's the Pirates and the Rays. 7.5 total. This seems like a clear fade to me. I'm out on this game, not getting exposure to it. AP, how about you? What are you doing with this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are aligned that we just don't target games in this, in this ballpark. It's just not a good one. And Kluber does struggle against lefties, and there is some power in this Pittsburgh lineup, but not enough to make me play it. So I'm with you. I'm probably full fading this game, to be honest.
All right, full fade for you, Glock. What are you doing here? Is it a full fade on this game?
Yeah, offensively for sure, it's a full fade for me. I prefer the pitching in this game for sure, and I think last night a lot of people were on Mitch Keller and Jeffrey Springs, right? So, I mean, you can go right back to the same situation here with JT Brubaker, who I think is better than Mitch Keller, Corey Kluber, who I mentioned earlier. I think they're both viable options, on both sides for pitching. And yeah, I mean, Keller didn't quite work out yesterday, but I think Brubaker is better, and he's been decent, right? I think he's put up 18.4, 12.6, and 22.1 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I think this game, if you need the salary savings, I don't mind, attacking it with, playing JT Brubaker and Corey Kluber. So yeah, and I don't want to give anything away, but it's someone prominent at our site has both in their core. So yeah, it's a free show, so we'll leave it for the premium members to figure out who it is. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good point. Also, if you're trying to figure out what that guy's offense is too, you're not guessing that. I'll tell you that. He's definitely off the board with that. So good luck guessing it today too. So if you want it, go sign up at Run Pure Sports right now and be sure to check it out. And be sure to add on Saberson. That way you can, build out some lineups and lock in those guys and see kind of what the construction is and what the best teams are. Let's go on over to the next game because, again, I like the pitchers in this game. I loved going Brubaker and Kluber, and I think I'm definitely going to have at least one team that goes both of them. I'm not playing these offenses. Let's go on over and talk about the Orioles and the White Sox. And I mean, if you guys want to just sit down and let me talk, I can talk about the White Sox for a while because I think Spencer Watkins is not that good. Also, this White Sox lineup is better now. I haven't played them as much this year, and mainly because they haven't been healthy, but definitely healthier right now. And they got Lenyn Sosa in there as a nice little value play. I do think it's going to increase their ownership a little bit. And yeah, am I concerned that they're the chalkiest stack on the slate? A little bit, but I'm willing to fight AP on this one. If the Royals are going to be chalky, which I don't know, maybe they're not as chalky as I'm thinking, I'll fade the Royals chalk instead, and I'll just play the White Sox chalk. Anytime the Royals are looking to be chalky, I'm out on them. So that's my stand. I do think Sosa really upped their ownership, though, because it just makes it easier to slam in a lot of good bats on and get in those big bats from the White Sox as well, right? Helps you get in Luis Robert, helps you get in Jose Abreu. And there's other value plays like AJ Pollock at 3.5K, Gavin Sheets at 2.1. Up and down, there's just a lot of opportunities. And let me tell you, I'm not playing Lurie Garcia on my White Sox stack. I'll find some other option because this is just a loaded lineup for me. AP, let's go on over to you. What are you doing here with this White Sox game? And definitely talk about Baltimore. You might like them a little bit too, because I got to talk about Baltimore once we go back to Glock, because I think they're a really good mini stack here.
Yeah, I was hoping that we'd get Timmy Anderson out there, but the White Sox are rolling out one of their prospects, Lenyn Sosa. And look, like some people out there kind of peel these prospects lists and know these guys in and out. I definitely don't. I always go over to Fangraphs, and usually they have these lists and they give a little write-up about each guy. The first sentence here for Lenyn Sosa is a slow twitch athlete without huge tools. I stopped reading after that because I'm uninterested.
That doesn't sound good.
Not huge. Yeah, it doesn't. He's a low power guy, but a get on base guy. He'll probably just hurt my feelings by getting on base and getting a couple steals. But no, I mean, Mangone, in all seriousness, I am with you on the White Sox here. I don't like this lineup. God, it just looks so much better with Grandal, even though Grandal's having a bad season, but with Timmy Anderson in there. But man, Spencer Watkins is just so bad. He struggles to strike batters out. The swinging strike rate, a lot of people look at that, is just terrible. It's like 7% or something like that. So the White Sox could definitely tee off on him here. For me, it's just kind of figuring out, I keep falling on 3-man stacks, which I could be fine with, looking at Jake Berger, maybe Gavin Sheets, Jose Abreu, Luis Robert, obviously. And actually, Andrew Vaughn, he's been pretty good. But with Sosa being 2K, I just think, do I really want him in my 5-man stacks? Because that's going to be a very popular build path with him batting first and being 2K. So I'm really, that's going to be a decision point for me as I look into stacking against Lance Lynn a bit more. The one thing about Lynn is he's been very good against righties. He's really struggled against lefties. That's kind of what we saw last year. All the metrics show that even this year. So I will say, when you dive into it and you look at the at-bats, it's been left-handed hitters that have given him troubles. I think in his last start, he mowed down the righties, and Baltimore is heavy with right-handed hitters. So I'm not quite sure I'm sold on stacking against them. I do think if you're multi-entering, I would include them, since Lynn has shown that, man, when he's off, he can get absolutely blown up. But I do think this is a favorable lineup for him. So for me in this game, just keeping it simple, it's definitely the White Sox side. I'm looking at a 3-man stack, most likely with them.
All right. Yeah, I like him 3-man. I like him 5-man. And Baltimore, I like them as a 3-man, mainly because Lance Lynn is going to get some ownership on this slate. And these lefties, I think, can take advantage of him a little bit. So I'm definitely considering some Baltimore guys. Glock, let's go over to you. What's your thoughts on this Baltimore Orioles and Chicago White Sox game?
Oh, so it actually just said Orioles White Sox will be delayed due to rain today. So I guess I'll have to check out the radar and see how that's looking. But yeah, I definitely have some interest here. Definitely more so on the White Sox side, as I was on them last night and they truly let me down. And I'm pretty sure last year I stacked against Spencer Watkins every chance I got. And I'm just going to do the same this year. He hasn't pitched in a month. And, before he got hurt or got sent to wherever he got sent to, he allowed the second highest expected slugging percentage on the slate and allowed the third highest exit velocity on the slate. And the White Sox have been batting, a lot better as of late. It does suck that they don't have Timmy Anderson in the lineup. But yeah, I mean, the whole lineup will be in play for me. I do think AP's point about Sosa, the Sosa fade, is interesting because, he's 2K, right? And people might not even use him in a stack. They could use him as a one-off, and that'll just up his ownership even more. And so fading him has definitely some merits for sure. And, even though, like you said, they may be one of the chalkier stacks, I think we've proven that you can always get different with the chalk, right? You don't just play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a lineup and expect to get different that way, right? You have guys that you can wrap around the stack with for the White Sox, like a Gavin Sheets. He's treated me really well in the past. Jake Berger's sitting 7th in his 4K. Reese McGuire has some pop when he was on the Blue Jays. So I think, as long as you play the chalk, just keep in your mind that you can get different with a wraparound stack. And that's kind of what I'll be doing if I'm stacking up the White Sox. And yeah, on the Baltimore side, I feel like Lance Lynn has been, kind of a mixed bag. I remember stacking against him in his last start against Toronto. Toronto didn't really get it done, but, he still allowed 4 hits, 5 runs, and 3 earned runs. So it's been a mixed bag. I'll probably take a wait and see approach, attacking Lance Lynn again, kind of see what he's got and has more of a sample size. But yeah, I'm more focused on the White Sox side for sure. And I do think a full game stack is interesting, but like I said, I'll probably take just a wait and see approach in attacking Lance Lynn, basically.
All right, let's move on over to the next game. Before we do that, guys, please like and subscribe to the video. It helps us out a ton over here at Run Pure Sports. We appreciate it. But Glock, I'm going right back to you because you sound like you like the Cardinals today, and we got that game up next. So Cardinals and Cubs. So take it away. What are you doing here with this Cardinals team here against Mr. Sampson?
Yeah, so yeah, my main team yesterday was a 5-man card stack. I think 3 of the guys put up goose eggs. So I'm just going to go right back to them. It doesn't seem like they're going to have that much ownership. And last night when I was looking at, just the matchup, just to get ready for this show, they were going to go up against Alec Mills, who I think is worse than who they're playing today, Adrian Sampson. But still, I've seen a lot of Cubs games this year. If you can just get past that first guy and get into their pen, man, it's just terrible. So I'm definitely going to full stack the cards here. Goldschmidt is definitely my priority for sure, always. And I think since he's got elevated, he's up to 6K now. I'm not sure how high his ownership will be. Arenado's up to 5.5. Edman hasn't been hitting it well, and he's at 5.3K. So I think some of their guys at the top of the order aren't going to be that owned. because, we have stacks like the Kansas City Royals that are cheap, the White Sox that are cheap that people want to stack up. So I think the Cardinals are my favorite stack, and I think they're in a prime bounce back spot to go bombs away on this Sampson guy.
Well, here's my question for you, Glock. So I'm playing a lot of White Sox. I'm playing a lot of Cardinals. Who's your priority? Is it Goldschmidt or Arenado? Because if I go Goldschmidt, I can't get Jose Abreu in that stack. So that's something, like, I'm currently putting up one of my cores in the 3 max, and I see a Goldschmidt team I like, and then I see an Arenado team, and one of them fades Jose Abreu. And you can make the argument Jose Abreu is an interesting fade on your White Sox stack and instantly makes you different. What's your thoughts there on that? If you had to pick one, you can only play Arenado or Goldschmidt. Which one is it?
It's definitely Goldschmidt. But yeah, I think because you're playing the White Sox, you have that concern. All right, do I need Abreu? Do I need Goldschmidt? I'm going to pick Goldschmidt, but if I'm 5-manning the cards, I'm going to prioritize Goldschmidt and Arenado with the lean on fading Edman more. I just think Goldschmidt and Arenado have been hitting the ball better than Edman. And, I think, and then again, just thinking about that, right? Let's say you go Goldschmidt, Arenado, and then you fade Edman. In that shortstop spot, you're probably going to, if you like the White Sox, you're probably going to play Sosa, right? Because that's going to free up a lot of salary, then just increasing his ownership even more. But yeah, if I had to pick one, it'd definitely be Goldie. I just think he's just too hot of a hitter to fade right now. But yeah, in any Cardinals stack that I make, I'm going to make sure I have Goldie and Arenado in it for sure.
All right, Glock. They're both good teams, but I'm going the Arenado one. I'm sorry, but here's the thing. I'll show you both, and then I want to hear I want to hear your opinion. You can tell me off the show, yeah. But they're both good teams. I'm just going through them all right now. AB, let me get your opinion. Arenado or Goldschmidt? Obviously, they're both expensive. You could only pick one. Which would you pick, just in general? And then, of course, I'm assuming you're going to have some interest in the Cardinals here, and then maybe you have some interest in the Cubs. I saw them popping a little bit today, but not a team that I'm dying to get exposure to. What's your thoughts here on this game, AP?
Yeah, I mean, between those two, it would be Goldschmidt. I just think, man, like he's been the guy. But honestly, like Sampson had a good first start against the Braves last week. Looked pretty solid. And it's not like he's not like a guy that, like, he's not good, but like he can get it done. I think, like, looking back to last season, he's been worse against lefties. So like what I would be doing with the Cardinals is looking at Nolan Gorman, DC's boy. Dude has a ton of power. He had that double dong call last, what was it? It was against the Brewers. Yeah, he went off for like 38 DK points. So anytime he's going against a righty that, allows fly balls, what Sampson does, if you look at his longer term metrics, Gorman's firmly going to be in play. So that's where I would look at. I would look at Donovan, Brendan Donovan, Norman Gorman, and kind of build around that. Dylan Carlson as well. I'd be looking at him. So what I'd be doing is taking like one of Goldschmidt or Arenado and then stacking those other guys with them. And then no Cubs for me on this slate.
Yeah, if I am doing 5-man stacks, I'm looking to probably get both Goldschmidt and Arenado. And if you're not getting like one of them, like your Cardinal stack is wrong. You need to change it. That's
correct,
just my opinion on it and how I would handle it for sure. Let's move on over to this next game. We got the Nationals and the Rangers. And man, if you want to get contrarian, stack this game up, right? Or get some exposure to it. Because I don't see a lot of people talking about it. I do think a really good one-off here is Corey Seager against Josiah Gray, who has struggled getting lefties out. So would not sleep on him. A little bit of a mini stack of the Rangers and those lefties is not the worst idea on this slate. AP, let's go right back to you. Any interest in this 8.5 total, or are you just straight up fading it?
Yeah, we got to think the roof's going to be closed here. And anytime that happens, it's just, man, it's a tough park, really tough. And, going to be a bullpen game for the Rangers, which kind of takes me off of the Nationals, starting there with Matt Bush, who, it's just going to be a tough spot for the Nationals. So easily off them. Josiah Gray, he's got some extreme fly ball numbers, but he may have like corrected something because he hasn't given a home run up in like 2 or 3 starts. And he's been a guy that we've seen just be prone to giving up, multiple home runs in a game. Maybe he's due. Maybe you're on that side of it. Maybe it's like he's #due to give some up. If so, I'm with Mangone on this one. I'm looking at the lefties, Corey Seager. I'm looking at Nate Lowe. I'm looking at Cole Calhoun. Some of the guys with power there that could get to him.
I definitely don't mind it for sure. Man, I'm just looking at this Orioles lineup. I don't know if you guys noticed, there's not as many lefties in this lineup. It kind of came out.
That's what I was saying. That's why I'm off of. That's why I might play Lance Lynn if I don't lock in my two my two studs. Cause like I'm looking at it and it's hard. Like I do like these Cardinal guys, but you can't fit them in with two stud pitchers. It's tough to make it happen.
I was just the reason I don't mind Corey Seager today is like I was just looking at like some one-off ideas, right? And I was looking at like let me go Mullins, like Aaron Judge, and like Seager as one-offs and load up on like a cheap stack. Like that's not a bad way to go. So I know I got a little off topic. I'm trying to update all my content, get my cores up and everything, but man, this Orioles lineup is not as good as I was expecting. So that's very frustrating to see. But yeah, I like Corey Seager. I think you and I are arm in arm on that AP. I think he's a really great one-off option that I'm considering, especially if everyone's paying down for Sosa, right? Definitely a good way to be unique. Glock, let's go over to you. Any interest in this game between the Rangers and the Nationals?
Yeah, if you've been reading my premium articles, which I write 4 times a week, I always have been stacking against the Nats. I don't care who's on the mound. I just feel like I've had a lot of success because, man, their bullpen and pitching staff is just really, really bad. And I feel like Josiah Gray is definitely the best one out of all of their pitchers, but he has given up the most home runs on the slate, at 14. And like AP said, he hasn't given up a home run in a while, but, maybe he's due for some regression here. So I do like Texas. Definitely no interest on the Washington side. But in regards to like a main team single entry on those cores, I don't think I'll play Texas. But I'll definitely have exposure to them on MME formats like on FanDuel and stuff. So I don't mind the Texas lineup at all. Definitely not a priority for me on this slate though.
All right, let's move on over to the next game. Let's talk about the Blue Jays and the Brewers. Obviously, a decent spot here. We're not obviously stacking up against Corbin Burnes, unless maybe you think the Blue Jays are going to keep going, but I don't think this is the case because Burnes, he definitely crushes righties. I don't think there's many lefties here that'll be able to take advantage of him, and he's good against both sides of the plate. Kikuchi, though, he is not good, and he's got a lot of righties that he's going to have to deal with for sure here. And, of course, we're waiting on these lineups too, right? I don't think that lineup's out yet, and sometimes when those lineups aren't out, it take some ownership off these teams. So I really like this Brewers team. Definitely think getting exposure to them as a 5-man or a 3-man is not a bad idea. AP, let's go on over to you on this one. Brewers, Blue Jays, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, like I talked about it. I think Burnes is going to get up for the spot, and I think it's going to be a tough day for the Blue Jays. So I just can't play any of them. Like Kikuchi, Gary was talking about it in chat. I think he has the highest barrel rate. We're starting to see him give up some home runs. We saw the Orioles went yard twice, Yankees twice, Minnesota 3 times, 4 games ago. So the home runs are starting to get there. You could definitely play a little Brewer stack here. I just find myself off of them. I do want to see the lineup though and how it looks. That could be a deciding factor for me. 4 Eastern game. And the other thing too is like locking in the Cole early. I don't find myself outside of the White Sox, so I'm definitely on them. But outside of that, I'm kind of on these later games, and it's going to allow me to maybe make some moves there and kind of judge to see how these first games went. And I'm fine with that. Like if there was ownership in some of these earlier games, and maybe the Brewers lineup is really tasty, as we often say, maybe I switch a few Royal stacks over to the Brew Crew. So it's really just going to depend for me. Want to see a few things, but definitely like the Brewers side of this game.
Yeah, definitely like the Brewers side too. There's a lot of ways to obviously mix and match these like righties here, and there's a lot of like low owned, like really good like righties at the bottom of the lineup, like Tyrone Taylor, who can be in there at times. Like Mike Brousseau definitely has some power and pop for cheap that you can get in there. So there's a lot of ways to go about it. Glock, let's go over to you. What are you doing here with this game?
Yeah, so like the Baltimore White Sox game, I think this is a potential game stack spot as well on the slate. You'll definitely get contrarian with the stacking against Corbin Burnes for sure. But it's something I always look for in an MLB slate where I can find some leverage. But yeah, I definitely prefer the Milwaukee side here, against my cousin Kikuchi. He has not been good lately. He's put up negative 4.1 fantasy points, 3.6, and 8.8 fantasy points in his last 3 games. He allows the highest exit velocity on the slate and is tied for second in home runs given up, on the year at 11, who's behind Josiah Gray at 14. So yeah, we don't have the lineup yet for Milwaukee, but my focus is definitely going to be on the power guys like, Willie Adames, if he's in the lineup, Tyrone Taylor, if he's in the lineup, Rowdy Tellez, those guys, the guys that pack power, right? Because Kikuchi is just prone to giving up the home runs. So that would be my focus for sure. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, in stacking up Toronto, Corbin Burnes is probably going to be one of the highest owned pitchers, and Toronto has just been blazing hot with the bats, right? They've put up 9 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs in their last 4 games. And it could continue here, right? So you get some leverage, and let's say like you have like a 5-man Milwaukee stack, and then you maybe have a 3-man Toronto stack with like Vlad or some big power like Kirk. I don't know if he's still hurt, but Kirk has just been hitting the ball phenomenally. So he would definitely be a priority for me if I was stacking against Corbin Burnes. But yeah, I like this game a lot. Definitely prefer the Milwaukee side for sure. I just think Kikuchi's not a very good pitcher. And like I said, he's allowing the highest exit velocity on the slate. So I definitely think the Brewers could, put up a number here for sure.
Yep, I think the Brewers are in a really good spot for sure. Definitely like getting the 3-mans and 5-mans, like I said. I think they're contrarian too. So excited to see what that lineup is. Hopefully we get a good one here. Let's go to the last game. If you guys could please like and subscribe to the channel, helps us out a ton. And we got 260 watching. We got like almost 100 likes. So let's get that up a little bit. Let's see. I don't want to pick a number, but make me happy, right? I want to be able to look at that number when we're done with this last game.
2 games left, right?
We skipped
2
one.
games.
I think we skipped
one.
Which one did I skip?
Miami Mets. The Marlins and the Mets.
Right? Oh, it's saving the gem for the last. You may have got me too. I saw you throwing the line out there for asking people to slide White Sox Royals. We'll get to it. Maybe we'll come up with something, man. Go.
I mean, listen, I'm happy to wager on it if you'd like. I just posted it in the
friendly. I'm always down for a friendly wager.
Yeah, we can do it for lunch. I'm always down to do that. I love a good lunch bet, but we do have the Mets and Marlins to talk about, but I don't want to talk about them. We'll see if you guys want to. Actually, let's just get that out the way right now. Mets and Marlins. Any interest, AP? What are you doing here with that game?
No, I mean, you guys covered it earlier, like the pitchers there. That's about it. I'm not playing any bats from this game, so we'll make it nice and easy.
All right, Glock. Mets, Marlins. Any interest here?
Yeah, same here. I think Bassett is a lock for me. So the pitching on the Mets side for sure is my interest. And then, no interest in the offenses on both sides.
Cool. Let's go on over to the next game. So what do we got here, AP? We'll go to you. Royals against Jared Koenig. And I understand why you want to stack against him. He's not that good. Like the numbers are horrific. He is not a good pitcher. It's hot there. Royals are cheap too. If you want to get those double spend up arms, that's an easy way to do it. But I'm just taking the stand. If people are going to be on the Royals, I'm not going to be on the Royals with them. I'm not going arm in arm with you today. But hey, maybe you can sell me on it here. I will admit, I'm running teams right now, AP. I'm looking at some 5-2-1s, and I keep seeing Whit Merrifield jumped in there and Bobby Witt Jr., and I just keep scrolling, and I'm not trying to play them right now. But maybe you can sell me on it. What's your thoughts here on the Royals?
Yeah, so I think it was Holden asked the question on one of the last up to lock shows I did earlier in the week. Like, how do you feel when a team is facing a pitcher recently again for the second time, like within a week or 2 weeks, which is the case today for both pitchers, and Jared Koenig and Brad Keller? And my thought is simple. If it's an elite pitcher, I favor the pitcher. I think they're going to have the advantage, a Cole, a Burns, McClanahan. If it's a bad pitcher, which we have 2 of them on the mound today, and Koenig and Keller, I think Keller's terrible. I think it's the advantage to the hitters. I counted up like 14 or 15 like fly balls to outfield that the Royals had alone against the A's in this matchup against Koenig. I mean, they ran bad, and it was a Sunday day game. Who knows? They probably went out. Not much to do, probably. They probably went out, had a good time in Oakland. So who knows there? But I do like them today. Koenig just doesn't look good. This Royals as a team at home, when you look at them against a lefty, talked about it yesterday, but Mangone, you were right. What's his name? I forget the pitcher that was on the mound yesterday, but a ground ball guy, and kind of got saved there. The Royals only had 3 runs. Edward Olivares, 2 bombs, which was just crazy, batting 4th today. But the Royals, they strike out at a 15% rate. They're very pesky against lefties, and they're sneaky. 200 ISO as a team, 340 WOBA. So man, I think like looking at the lineup: Witt, Benintendi, Bobby Witt, Olivares, Melendez. He's been good against lefties. Then you got Santana and Doge. I'm in for that bet. I like this lineup. We'll do a friendly little, maybe Chipotle bet or something like that. Does that work, Mangone?
Oh, Chipotle is perfect. I love getting me.
Is it team? What do we do? Team total, or do we do?
What's the bet? What bet are we making?
I mean,
it's White Sox.
$50 for like $50 for Chipotle. That's like 2 meals at Chipotle for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We'll do $50, and I'll be sure to make sure to buy a lot of Chipotle with it, for sure. And we'll do Royals versus the White Sox. Whoever scores the most runs, right at the end of the day.
I like that. One thing too. Let me just tidy this up on the A's side. So I don't think a lot of people do this. You do a full game stack here, I think, because I am not a believer in Brad Keller. He was incredible. I mean, the A's suck. They really do. And so maybe it's just he comes out and mows them down again. But I like some of the power here. We don't have the lineup yet, but Seth Brown, got to figure he's out there. Stephen Vogt. I think you can make the case for a little 3-man stack running it back with the A's.
Yeah, definitely think the A's could work as a little 3-man stack for sure. Then the game stack can definitely work out. I mean, it's got a decent total here. Let's go to you, Glock. What are you doing here with this Royals game?
Yeah, so I'll kind of give the argument for Brad Keller, because lately I've been targeting, the A's. I think I messaged AP, or I called Daniel Lynch when he was also against the A's, and he obviously mowed them down. Brad Keller mowed him down. We obviously don't have the lineup yet for, this A's team yet, but, I don't know who they could put in there to make it any better, to be honest with you. So I actually like Brad Keller. I don't think we touched on it in the pitching portion, but he's only 6,800. And like I said, he faced this Oakland A's team on June 18th. He put up 29.4 fantasy points. Obviously, that was his season high. He only gave up 1 hit, didn't allow a run in 7 innings pitched. So I think he's in play personally. Nothing really stands out to me when it comes to Keller stats. Like AP said, he thinks he's bad, but I just know the A's have been even worse. And, I've had success targeting against, their offense with the starting pitchers. So I think if I had interest in this game, it would be on the Kansas City Royals side as an offense, but I do see the ownership numbers. And yeah, it makes me lean with Mangone on this. I just don't want to play the Royals into ownership. But I know that'll probably own me, and I'll see the AP GIFs of him holding the Royals flag running through the field.
What's coming out.
Yeah.
If they go off, what's coming out today, because we'll be at the pool later having some drinks and stuff. So yeah, it'll be coming out. We'll be watching the games for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, this game could definitely be a clown fiesta for sure. But like I said, I have more faith in Brad Keller. I think he's a viable option as a starting pitcher if you need some salary relief. And then if I were to stack up an offense, it would be the Kansas City Royals side. But just keep in mind, they are projected to come with ownership. So just make sure you try to get different with your stack. That Edwin Olivares guy, I think he was the one that hit, he double donged yesterday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's hitting 4th. So I would, he'll probably come with ownership now. I was hoping he'd be kind of towards the bottom of the lineup, but yeah, just keep that in mind if you're stacking up the Royals on how you do it. And just know that they're going to come with ownership.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Royals are definitely come with ownership, but hey, they help make a lot of things work for sure. Maybe they help get you like a 5-man Yankee stack with a lot of big bats, right? Maybe they help you get in a lot of White Sox, right? I mean, there's definitely ways that it can work because of how cheap they are. So yeah, AP, final thoughts here on this game, and you want to move on to those plays of the day and the stacks, of course.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys see for ownership on him? Because he was like 1%. I had him I didn't have him stacked up right, but I had him in my Royal stack. He was like, I think like 1% or maybe under. I mean, it was crazy. Is he going to go from 1% to like pretty high own, batting 4th? I mean, you guys got a read on that, or?
I thought about that when I saw it, but I didn't know for certain. So, but
gotcha.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think I'm more worried about like the Whit Merrifield and Bobby Witt. I think those are like the 2 guys. But again, I don't know. If you're doing the full 5-man, I'm not as concerned about it for sure. But let's move on to our stacks, and we need to get more likes on, because listen, I don't have my teams in, and we got like 7 minutes left, and like I'm happy to pull the plug quick. So let's go over to Glock. Give me your top stacks here on this slate, and let's see if we can get those likes up here and push it home.
Yeah, so my chalky stack is definitely the White Sox. Like I said, I think there's going to be 2 main chalk stacks on this slate: the White Sox and then the Royals. And like I kind of just gave my point, I'd rather eat the White Sox chalk rather than the Royals chalk. And then my favorite contrarian stack is definitely the Cardinals. I'm just going to go right back to them after putting up a goose egg yesterday, and they're gonna put it up against the Cubs.
All righty, that's a good call there. Glock, AP, give me your stacks. Who do you got here on this slate?
Yeah, I got the Royals. I got the Whites, the chalkiest stacks, like you guys just said. But day games, there's always way to get different. So I'm not too worried about the ownership there at all. And then I got, I'm looking at the Brew Crew too. I want to see what that lineup looks like.
All right. We got the Brew Crew lineup that we got to look at. I'm definitely excited to see what that is for sure. For me, my top stacks, I got the White Sox as my number one, no doubt. Going to be getting exposure to them. Got the Milwaukee team. Want to see what that lineup is. St. Louis. I don't love Baltimore as much as I said, but I like the Yankees a little bit more. That's one team that's kind of growing on me a bit here. So those are kind of my stacks and where I'm at on this slate. And let's see what the likes are. We got 11 likes. So let's give those plays of the day out really quick. And see what we're going here on this one. Glock, I'll go over to you first. Give me your guy. Who is your play of the day?
Yeah, so my favorite contrarian stack is the Cardinals. So I'm going to pick a guy from there. AP kind of alluded to it earlier in the show. Lefties. Nolan Gorman will be my play of the day. After hitting that double dong day where he posted 38 fantasy points, he's kind of been a little bit silent, zero fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 games. So I think he is my play of the day. He's going yard today in St. Louis.
All righty. Let me go off the board here. I'm going with a pitcher. I'm going to go with JT Brubaker. I think he has a pretty good game. I don't think people are going to be on him as much. He's going to be in one of my teams for sure. My, single entry 3 max. So I like JT Brubaker a lot. Give me him. We'll make him the play of the day. We'll go with a pitcher here. AP, we'll head on over to you. Who do you got? Who is your play of the day?
Yeah, so Koenig, the thing about him, man, he's allowing a ton of fly balls to left-handed hitters. And people hate these lefty-lefty matchups. But when you go and look at MJ Melendez, 310 ISO, 440 WOBA against lefties. So, I mean, man, perfect lefty-lefty spot. I think Melendez had two out to the track in Oakland. Same thing's going to happen today, but it's going out of the park. MJ Melendez, my play of the day.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the MLB Swing for the Fences show. Be sure to check out all the content that we have over here at Run Pure Sports coming up this weekend for all the sports for one price. But for me, Mangone, AP, and Glock, we are going to see you guys later.